So, why do I always start with so? Second part to be melded in. I wanted to say this. Even though sometimes it doesn't seem like it, the Most High, the Creator for the heavens and the earth, has got us. And He knows that at the end, everything works out good. So it's not a case of holding on. It's a case of knowing, like moment by moment, that's the fact, that's the truth. So you know it moment by moment. You look in the moment and you see the good of the moment. That can be difficult, but you have to almost use maths to work out what could potentially be the benefit of something happening, and looking at a larger picture. And that's where things like who you are come into it, because then it's easier to work out the picture. I heard somebody say the other day that the word disaster comes from two core words, which is well, it's not really a word, so it's just what would you call it, preempt, a modifier, disaster. So dis, against, preventing, and then aster, meaning star. So in that context, a disaster actually means when somebody doesn't know who they are. So similar to how the magi, where we get our word magic from, similar to how the magi knew where to find Yeshu, known as Jesus, when he was born. They looked at the stars to show when and where he was. So the fact of him being here is the truth of those stars being there. So the stars didn't come first and then Yeshu. Yeshu made that energy there. So him being here, when he was here physically, made that energy exist. So that is him. So that is why those magi knew where to go to find him, because not only was that energy here, but it also showed them exactly where he was. And we can't really sleep on that side of the gospel. It's very important. I don't think it's good to, like, well, personally for me, it might be for other people, let me take that back, some other people maybe, but for me, I don't really dabble that much into it, but I'm very mindful to be aware that it's a thing. So yeah, he's got us. So just to finish off then, as a quick one, and now that I've got my other piece of information, and to say to that dude who wrote that marvellous bit of text about twin flames, I think, I don't usually do timestamp like YouTube's, but I think that the one you think is your twin flame is not your twin flame. You haven't met her yet, but when I met you, after a couple of weeks, I don't even know if it was that much, I immediately knew who I thought you would be with. This is even before you started talking to me about twin flames. So you haven't met her yet, but the next time I buck up on you, definitely I will tell you who I think it is. Yeah, because honestly, dude, your twin flame is not going to be driving you mad, stalking you, telling you craziness. That's not what it is. And no, this is an absolute no. So anyway, let me just finish now. So this was the fourth portion to this, seemingly kind of random. So we had section 40 of the 1215 Constitution by our great King John, who totally took and put his life in the hands of the Almighty and wrote those marvellous words of our Constitution here in England. And so there was that. section 40, which was you can't sell justice. It's just, you don't do that here. Then the next one was obviously the twin flame portion, and then I forget what the third one is, but obviously this is coming on the end of it. Maybe I remember after I've done this. Anyway, so this is the fourth one. So this is from Isaiah 60 verses 1 to 3, and so this, you're going to have to take my word for it, because I'm not going to break it down. I just want it to be simple and fresh. I'm not going to break it down in terms of the Strong's numbers. I'm just going to read it as it was kind of translated by me from the King James Version. So Isaiah 60 verses 1 to 3. Continue decreeing, shine, for has come light, magnificence, Yahweh above risen, or Yahweh. I say Yahweh, so Yud Hey Vav Hey, above risen. So I say Yahweh. Anyway, so I start from the beginning. Continue decreeing, shine, for has come light, magnificence, Yahweh above risen. For behold, obscuring fill up earth, thick cloudiness, nations. Dash. Above, break forth beams of light. So break forth beams of light is all one word. So above breaks forth beams of light. Yahweh magnificence above is seen. Now let me just explain that a little bit. So I can say from my own inspection that what we're looking at, we look at the sun at the moment here in England, and it is like a very small white spot. The sun is yellow and it's much bigger. So there is something, I think it's calcium, I'm not sure, calcium iodide, calcium something. I looked it up the other day, not even expecting to see that, but they just blatantly said what they're covering the sun with. A silver oxide and a calcium something. They say sometimes they spray the clouds with it to reflect back the sun's harmful rays, or some absolute dippy stupidity like that. Well, if it's harmful for you, you need to go off planet somewhere. So so at the moment the sun is shining very bright. Now this is the thing, I will caveat that with this, because obviously people have been seeing countries that are sort of getting hot and burning. Now the thing is, if you cover the sun with something, the heat that it emits is not the usual heat, it's a burning heat. I can tell you this, I usually have plaits. This is the first year in my life, this year and last year, this first time in my life that I've had to sometimes put my hand over the partings in my plaits because the sun is burning my scalp. It's never happened before. So, as I say, this is a caveat. Because they've covered it with this white thing, it's a different type of a sun and it does burn. But if you allow the yellow to come through, which is in effect the reverse of the UV, which is being blocked, you get a richer, more buttery sun, which doesn't burn. It's more warm, it's less piercing. So this is effects of persons who don't know what the hell they're doing, meddling with something that they have no idea or clue about. So at the moment the sun should be much, much more glorious, but it's being hindered and hidden from us. I remember actually at this place I am now, I was walking around late evening as the sun was setting, and because by then obviously whatever they decided to cover it with has either run out or they disengaged its effects. I don't know exactly how they do it. It was a massive, it wasn't yellow, it was a massive orange, and it wasn't a sunset because it was still, you could still see clear sky around it, although it was setting. It was a massive orange colour. It was probably, because I'd been out earlier that day, it was probably maybe 5, 6, 7 times the size of the spot, because when they cover it with that white thing, whatever it is, what happens is it also reduces the radiantness of it. So the radiantness of it makes it appear larger. So that's what is actually happening in the sky at the moment. But anyway, let me start from the beginning. Isaiah 60:1-3. Continue decreeing. So that's us, what we have to do. Continue speaking, saying what is so. Don't let anybody hinder you. So anyway, continue decreeing. Shine, for has come light magnificence. Yea, they above risen. For behold, obscuring fill up the earth, thick cloudiness nations. Above break forth beams of light. Yea, they magnificent above seen. Full stop. Travelling heathen light, comma. Royals brightness dawns. And again, break forth beams of light. So what we should be seeing now is those who hadn't formerly known, well, we are seeing now, those who hadn't formerly known our Father, our Creator, God, are lighting up and coming towards Him, because they're saying, hold on, this guy is making sense. I heard somebody the other day saying he'd never really dabbled with God, but when he started looking at, specifically he started looking at the flat earth paradigm, and then he found that it matched, as he began to believe the flat earth paradigm, he found that it matched the description of how the earth was formed in the Bible. So that actually made him believe the Bible. So that is like a travelling heathen lighting up. And then the royals, brightness dawns and break forth beams of light. So I think that's all I wanted to say today. So I think I will definitely title this Return of the Magi, Return of the Magic. Don't be fooled by what you see around you. You know, who knows what the Magi were doing before they saw those stars. They just got their bags packed and they just made a move, because the real things was about to take place. You know, the real Messiah was about to be born. So don't let everything around you or anything around you distract you from what is actually really happening. It is difficult sometimes, but you got to know who you are. That's the main thing. If you know who you are, and it's not difficult because you kind of know yourself from the beginning. Your likes, your dislikes very rarely change, and if you add a little bit of honey to your likes and dislikes, you probably more or less can tell what your anointing is. But they've got to be your likes and dislikes since you were a child, I would say, but that's probably a different video. Anyway, so yeah, that's the fourth bit. See if I can remember all four. Probably can't. It was that, Isaiah 60, the Constitution for England, 1215 by King John, specifically section 40, and then it was the twin flames, yes, and then it was being title revested out of Cestus UV, and the fact that some of your hereditaments, so you have hereditaments that are, so just to summarize, hereditaments that are corporeal and hereditaments that are incorporeal. So assets and things and treasures that are physical, tangible, and assets, things and treasures which are intangible. Now the ones that are intangible, such as I said, say if you have freedom to, you know, as you should if you're out of Cestus UV status, if you have freedom to travel throughout London for free, then that would be something that would be granted to you. So if you felt an unction to actually put that into manifestation, I would say make a move. Personally, although I know it is true, it's not something I feel to make a manifestation of, but there are other things that I have felt to make a manifestation of that are incorporeal. So just to reiterate, so the incorporeal things, the intangible things, lie in grant. They're given to you by the Most High. And then the so that was the incorporeal things. So the corporeal things are things that are tangible. They lie in livery, so they have to be like livered. When they say delivered, which messes up the words, it's delivery is an oxymoron. So they have to lie in livery, so they lie in the fact that somebody has to say, no, okay, here you are. So those things, obviously, as I was saying before, belligerent trustees, you know, they're not giving up giving up the ghost easily. So yeah, basically those were the 4.